I've tried to put these words down so many times, but each attempt leaves me shaking. Even now, I can feel my heart pounding as I relive these memories. But I need to tell this story. I need someone, anyone, to know what happened and to understand that I survived, even if I'm different now. I never had the kind of family you see in movies or read about in books. There were no big holiday gatherings full of laughter and support, no parents who championed my choices or offered a steady hand. My best friend, Tammy, was the one who filled those gaps. We met in middle school, both a bit too quiet, a bit too strange for our classmates, and clung to each other like lifelines. With her by my side, my teenage years felt bearable, like I belonged somewhere at last. College pulled us in different directions, but we stayed close. My parents forced me into a Christian college out of state, while Tammy got into another school in the same town. We shared an apartment for 2 years, whispering late into the night about our dreams and fears. Then I met Trent. Trent seemed charming at first. He was attentive, always ready with a compliment, making me feel visible in a world that often overlooked me. But slowly, his affection turned to ownership. Insults crept into the silences between us, followed by threats and violence. By senior year, he was shoving me aside if I stood where he wanted to walk. Then the slaps came. He'd laugh at my tears, call me worthless. He threatened to cheat and claimed it would be my fault if he did. Sometimes I'd try to reach my family for help, but they shut me down, making it clear I was on my own. The worst came after graduation. He proposed, and when I hesitated, just a flinch of uncertainty, he punched the wall inches from my face. I fell to the floor in terror. He didn't comfort me. He forced himself on me. In the morning, I woke with his ring already on my finger. He called it makeup sex, as if that made it acceptable. It still makes my stomach turn to remember his voice, the way he'd twist kindness and cruelty into a single horrifying act. Somehow, I found the courage to plan my escape. Over weeks, I squirreled away cash in a tampon box in my purse, hid clothes and documents in my trunk. The day came when I left him behind, along with my old phone, and disappeared. Tammy was the only one who knew the truth once I was gone. She helped cover my tracks when Trent came looking, spinning some lie about me being out of reach. With her help, he never found me. For years after that, Tammy was my anchor. We were both in our mid-30s now, older and a bit wiser, or so I believed. I knew she'd grown more religious, leaning into her faith for guidance. I never begrudged her that. I just asked that she not push it on me. 2 years ago, she moved overseas for work. I was proud of her and happy she found something meaningful, but I was also scared. Without Tammy close by, who did I have? I had acquaintances, colleagues, but no one who really knew me. Still, we video chatted and exchanged stories of our new lives, she in London, me having moved to Texas. For a while, it felt like the distance meant nothing. But then her calls slowed after a visit back near our old college town. I didn't think much of it at first. People get busy, right? When she finally asked if she could come see me in Texas, I was thrilled. I tidied my place, took time off, planned outings. Yet when she arrived, something felt off. She was distant, distracted. The next evening, we went out drinking, and she started to cry. I rushed us home, worried something terrible had happened, and it had, just not what I expected. She told me she was with Trent, had been for almost a year. I remember the hush that fell over the room, the way her words echoed in my ears. Trent, the man who terrorized me, violated me, nearly destroyed me. She said he'd changed, found God, regretted everything. She expected me to understand, to accept it, maybe even to forgive him, so they could move forward with their relationship. I stared at her as if she'd grown a stranger's face. This was my best friend, the one who knew my scars, who held me up when I was afraid to stand. How could she, of all people, align herself with him? I wanted to scream, to rage, to cry, but I just felt numb. Eventually, I found my voice and told her to get out. She tried to explain again, to plead his case, but I just repeated the same words. When I didn't budge, she grabbed her belongings and left. Afterward, I sat alone on my couch, shaking, disbelief and betrayal clawing at my chest. A week of silence followed, then my father texted me to say Tammy called him, sobbing. My family, never my allies, told me I should get over it. They saw my pain as an overreaction. Tammy began messaging me, urging me to video chat with Trent, to see his new self, to forgive. She implied I exaggerated his abuse, that I was being malicious. I blocked her number. I couldn't bear more lies. I hoped that would be the end, but Trent showed up at my part-time job, a small bar where I worked a few nights a week. The instant I saw him, my heart seized. A regular named Daisy, sensing my panic, went straight to the manager, who had no patience for abusive men. Trent was thrown out before he could pull any stunts. He tried calling afterward, voicemails from him and from Tammy, painting me as hateful, unstable, urging me to reconsider. He hinted at danger, that I was alone and vulnerable. I felt their words like poison in my veins. Daisy and her mother Rose offered me a refuge. I stayed with them for a while, shaken by how quickly my safe life had been shattered. With Daisy's help, I found legal support and filed for a restraining order against Trent. I gathered old voicemails, texts, anything I had saved from that dark time. My lawyer said I had enough for a temporary order. It was a small victory, but it helped me breathe again. I vanished from social media, changed my number, and refused to give my address to anyone, not even my family, who demanded it under the guise of sending Christmas gifts. They fumed that I was being paranoid, but after all that's happened, I trust no one fully, not even them. Time moved forward in slow, halting steps. I found a new roommate from the bar's staff who understood the importance of secrecy. The bar community rallied around me, ensuring I never walk alone to my car after a late shift. The city's nightlife, once just a backdrop to my job, became a protective circle of kind faces and watchful eyes. In therapy, I'm learning to distinguish between love and loyalty, understanding that sometimes those who were once safe become strangers overnight. Tammy's betrayal stings almost as much as Trent's violence. She knew exactly what he was capable of and still chose him. It's a wound that might never fully heal. Still, I'm forging new connections. Daisy and Rose have become like family to me, showing that compassion can come from unexpected places. My new roommate and I bond over silly TV shows and cheap takeout, building comfort one small kindness at a time. The hearing is set for January. With luck, I'll secure a permanent order and strengthen the legal wall between me and Trent. Until then, I live quietly, carefully. I remain determined not to let fear define me. I survived him once, and I can survive this new onslaught of pressure and intimidation. Sometimes late at night, I think back to the younger me who first met Tammy in that middle school hallway. We were just kids with mismatched backpacks, nervous smiles, and so much faith in each other. I never imagined a day would come when the trust we built would crumble so completely. But life is full of shattering moments. It's what I do next that matters, and I still stand, still breathe, still refuse to let their demands break me. Someday I hope to reclaim the simple joy of feeling secure in my own life. Until then, I hold on to the friendships I've made in this crisis, the small acts of solidarity that remind me I'm not alone. I'm not the girl he tried to ruin. I'm the woman who got away and who won't ever go back.